Hey, what's going on? Sanctuary just got another round of tuning, and the March 24th, 2026 update for Diablo IV. Blizzard says this update is mainly about feedback-driven fixes, and the biggest headline is that Bloodsoaked Sigils were reduced in difficulty significantly because the team heard that a lot of players were unlocking that content and then running into a wall instead of a challenge that felt fair. That one change alone tells you the direction of this patch. Less frustration, more consistency, and fewer moments where the game asks for more than the average player can reasonably give. Along with that, the patch adds a stash and a blacksmith to Kael'Rill's butcher shop, so players can salvage and store items without making constant trips back to Diablo IV, which is honestly one of those quality of life upgrades that sounds simple but ends up saving a ton of time once you are deep into a run. On top of that, the butcher instances in the Fields of Hatred now have significantly more health, so that side of the season is being pushed toward a tougher, more durable encounter rather than something that burns down too quickly. Blizzard's own notes frame this as a cleanup update meant to make the seasonal experience smoother, and that is exactly how it reads from top to bottom. Now, once you get past the headline changes, the rest of the patch is packed with fixes that target the exact kinds of problems that can make a season feel messy if they are left alone. On the accessibility side, Blizzard fixed an issue where the screen reader did not fully function in the ensemble section of the wardrobe, which is a meaningful correction for anyone relying on that feature to navigate cosmetics and character customization properly. Then the Season of Slaughter section gets a long list of repairs, and a lot of them are the kind of issues players notice immediately when they happen, even if they are not dramatic on a patch note page. One fix addresses a butcher attack that could go invisible on low graphic settings, which matters because if you cannot clearly see an attack, you are not really responding to gameplay so much as guessing at it. Another fix repairs the camera malfunction that could happen in local co-op when both players transformed into the butcher. And that is the sort of bug that can turn a cool seasonal gimmick into a mess in seconds. Blizzard also fixed a problem where not all party members properly transformed when entering a slaughterhouse, which is important because a transformation system like this only works if the whole party state stays in sync. There are also fixes for the kill streak effects not granting willpower for druids, Shrine of Slaughter removing active incense and elixir buff icons, and Hell Charge not consuming resources correctly. Those are the kinds of details that can quietly undermine a build or make an entire seasonal system feel off, even if the player cannot always put their finger on why. The patch also cleans up several tooltip and economy issues, which may sound less dramatic but can have a real impact on how people understand the season and what they spend time chasing. The Bloodlust tooltip was incorrectly suggesting passive resource regeneration, so Blizzard corrected that to better match the actual behavior. Bloodied Scythes and two-handed maces were cheaper than intended at the butcher's shop in Diablo IV, which means pricing balance got adjusted as part of the same pass. Fields of Crimson unique power was not functioning on the Crucible Transmog, and that is exactly the kind of Cosmower interaction bug that feels extra annoying because it touches both appearance and functionality at once. Necromancer minions could block player movement when entering a slaughterhouse, which is the sort of pathing issue that can make an entire encounter feel clumsy. Bloodied Nightmare dungeons were not matching normal Nightmare dungeons in Obdusite drop chances either, so Blizzard corrected the reward structure there as well. Then there are broader progression fixes. Multiple cases where season rank objectives or capstone completions failed to grant rewards or could not be completed properly, and multiple instances of Teyana appearing in unexpected places during the seasonal quest. Those two categories matter because they deal with progression trust. If a season is going to keep players moving, objectives have to pay out correctly, and quest logic has to stay predictable. Blizzard also fixed the Ring of Red Furor, missing its icon, reduced the life discrepancy on tower bosses Dunaros and Herald of Darkness, restored the missing winged visual effects in Paladin's Arbiter form, fixed Blind Burrow's dungeon progression getting blocked if the boss died before the objective updated, and addressed a crash affecting players on Windows 10 version 1909 when launching the game. The last line in the official notes is the broad one, but it matters just as much. Stability, visual, performance, and audio improvements were all part of the update, which usually means the team was cleaning up a mix of minor and major friction points behind the scenes. If you are looking at this patch as a whole, the vibe is pretty clear. Blizzard is trying to make the seasonal systems feel less punishing, more readable, and less likely to trip over themselves. The Bloodsoaked Sigil adjustment is the anchor change because it directly responds to player feedback about difficulty, but the surrounding fixes tell the rest of the story. The Stash and Blacksmith edition in Kael'Rill's shop is there to reduce downtime. The Butcher health increase in the Fields of Hatred is there to make that fight behave more like a serious seasonal threat. The accessibility fix makes sure the wardrobe stays usable. The transformation, resource, tooltip, reward, and dungeon fixes all point toward a season that is meant to feel coherent instead of half-working in edge cases. And that is what makes this kind of update worth covering in a video. It is not about one giant headline feature. It is about the way a live game gets shaped by the annoying details players run into every day. Blizzard's official notes make it pretty plain that this update is about responding to feedback and smoothing out the experience, and the list of fixes backs that up from start.